Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Operations Committee meeting for Tuesday, April the 12th, 2022 to order. As we gathered this morning, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Has roll call been taken, Evelyn?
Yes, and we have quorum, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, need a mover and seconder for the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting held on March the 8th. Councillor Hunt, Councillor Lynch, are there any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor as presented? Carried. Thank you. We're on, there are no delegations at the time, so it would be noted that Mr. Perkins is joining us by Zoom, but leading the meeting today will be Mr. Taylor Hanrath, and I'm sure we'll have a equally good meeting as if Mr. Perkins was here. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, I'll present the department report, starting with the information items. Item number 1 is the 2021 unaudited financial statements. Attached as Appendix 1 is a copy of the 2021 unaudited financial statement for the Public Works and Engineering Department as at December 31st, 2021. Mr. Jeffrey Foss, Director of Corporate Services, will provide an overview at our meeting today. Item number 2 is the monthly project status report. Attached as Appendix 2 is the monthly project status report. Additional project-specific information is provided in the divisional reports. Item number 3 is the capital program variance report. Attached as Appendix 3 is the capital program variance report. Item number 4 is the growth-related issues on county roads. Attached as Appendix 4 is an article by Debbie Christinik that was published in the Eganville Leader regarding the upcoming special meeting of County Council that will be dealing with growth-related issues on county roads and funding options. Item number 5 is installation of street lighting on County Road 7. Attached as Appendix 5 is a request from the Township of Whitewater Region for the installation of street lighting along several intersections on County Road 7, as well as 3 locations on County Road intersections. The County Corporate Policy PW15 street lighting on county roads requires a resolution from a local municipality to accept the installation, operation, and maintenance of these street lights. Staff will begin the warranty study for county intersections requested immediately. Those intersections are County Road 21, Beachburg Road with County Road 49, La Posse Road, County Road 50, Gore Line with County Road 12, Westmeath Road, County Road 49, La Posse Road with County Road 31, Lookout Road. Item number 6 is the increase in speed limits along provincial highways. Attached as Appendix 7 is a letter from the Ministry of Transportation indicating the increase in speed limit along certain 400 series and appropriate sections of provincial highways. Of particular interest is to the County of Renfrew is the section of Highway 417 from Canada to Arnprior, which will see an increase from 100 kilometers per hour to 110 kilometers beginning April 22nd, 2022. Contact information has been included to provide input and feedback by April 7th of 2022. Item number 7 is on-site and excess soil management, Ontario Regulation 406-19. On Tuesday, March 22nd, County staff facilitated a virtual meeting with Laura Blees, Senior Policy Advisor of Environmental Policy Branch, Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, to discuss the on-site and excess soil management as laid out in Ontario Regulation 406-19. 11 of our partner municipalities were in attendance. Attached as Appendix 8 is a copy of the PowerPoint slides Ms. Blees presented to the group. The question and answer session was very informative, with several concerns being addressed. This legislation will not have any major impact on county operations or projects going forward. As committee will recall from the March operations meeting, staff are working on excess soils policy to be brought forward at a later date. And that concludes the information items, Chair.
Thank you. We'll go back to item number 1. The unaudited financial statements. Mr. Foss, is this your moment? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to the Operations Committee. It's a little bit unusual for us. What was old is kind of new again, so we'll work our way through this meeting this morning. In your package, of course, you have your unaudited financial statements for the Operations Committee. These are to be considered as draft, and of course, I will be presenting financial updates or unaudited statements to all committees this week. We will have, at our June meeting of County Council, we will have our external auditors come and present to you our audited financial statements for the year end 2021. So consider this to be a sneak peek. The auditors have been in and have finished their review, and there are no changes that are anticipated to any of the numbers that I'm going to present to you this morning. But they are not in a consolidated format, so of course we have to consolidate all committees into corporate consolidated financial statements, and those we'll present to you in the month of June. So just looking at the performance really for the Operations Committee, the last page, if you will, under the revenue section, talks a little bit about overall performance. You'll see that total expenditures are equaling total revenues at $22,155,000. But what's of the most importance is really the municipal contribution or municipal levy, which is used to support operations throughout the year 2021. We had a budget of $8,907,000 against an actual of $8,419,000. So overall, operations is $480,000 under budget. And so we'll just talk a little bit about where that came from and what's really driving that situation. So I'll take you just to the top of the report. We have a number of departments that make up the Public Works or Operations financial statement. The top one is under our capital program, under expenses. The two items I'd like to highlight for you, really, they're about $7,800 over budget, primarily being driven from about the fourth line down. You'll see capital projects under threshold. And what does that really mean? When we set out at the beginning of the year and we create a capital budget, we anticipate that all of those projects will meet our threshold for capitalization. Projects typically coming forward to this committee are significant in nature, and many of the road reconstruction or bridge construction or rehabilitation projects are fairly significant financially, so we have no issues with them qualifying as being capital assets. But there are always a number of smaller projects that we anticipate that perhaps don't turn out to be the magnitude of project that we anticipate. And so there's a number of them each and every year that if they don't qualify to meet the capital threshold, and if the project is complete, we have to charge them against your operating statements. And so in total, $72,000 worth of capital-related activities didn't qualify to be capital projects, and so we charge them against income. Your capital budget is in excess of $20 million, so it's a small fraction of what you're managing, but those are the accounting rules for treating these projects that don't qualify under threshold. The other area, of course, is an under budget that is a fairly significant amount under infrastructure management, a budget of $196,000 against an actual of $110,000. We have an awful lot of things that go into this account. $56,000 for structure inspections, $10,000 for sewer inspections, bridge deck inspections, drainage review, intersection studies. So there's a lot of preparatory work for our future capital, a lot of studies that go into this area, and we are fairly significantly under budget in the 2021 year. Administration, you'll see that overall it's about $32,000 over budget, and one line item is really driving that. That's under insurance claims expense. And so, of course, like all of you, we have a program that covers us for both property and for liability coverage for the County of Renfrew, and each one of those lines of coverage carries a deductible. And so this amount of $63,000 represents all of the under-deductible activity that takes place with respect to our insurance claims. The line just above it for insurance at $128,000, those are our premiums that we are paying for this coverage. But so in total, the amount of under-deductible is reflected in insurance claims expense. For 2021, most of that variance is being driven really by a rental vehicle. We had an insurance claim on one of our light-duty trucks, and we had to go out and acquire a rental vehicle to replace that. We did, as you probably have experienced in your own municipality, we did have a tender out for a number of vehicle replacements in 2021, light-duty trucks, and the suppliers could not fill those orders. There just was not anything in the supply chain to allow us to acquire a replacement vehicle, and so part of that cost really reflects our having to replace that through a rental vehicle for a period of time. Moving on down to the maintenance area, and of course this is the area that's really driving your $427,000 total under budget position is all really coming from the maintenance department, and thankfully this year it's coming from winter control. We have certainly seen some years where our winter control actuals are significantly higher than budget, but in 2021 they were $527,000 under budget. Really reflects what staff have probably been reporting to this committee all year long, that the number of winter events and the severity of those events are lower than they have been in previous years. And so we are seeing that on our year-end financials at a savings or an under budget position of $527,000. That's a little bit offset by the account just below it, safety devices. And I know that staff have been talking to you about some of the pricing challenges that we're seeing for particularly line painting. So in this number for 2021, in this number of $726,000, $532,000 of that represents line painting activities across the County of Renfrew, and that variance is really being reflected in our increased costs for line painting. The 2022 budget recognized that, and we have significantly increased our budget for 2022 for line painting activities. And so this is just the reality of what took place in 2021. Also in safety devices, and in addition to line painting, is hydro costs, and the hydro costs related to the traffic control systems that we have throughout the county. So that actual and budget is reflected in this account. All of our purchases for signs, as well as repairs to our traffic signals are all within this safety device budget area. Moving down onto the equipment area, you'll see about 4 lines down, you'll see, again, we're talking to all committees about the impacts of COVID in 2021. I can tell you that, like 2020, all of our COVID-related incremental costs, whether they be in staffing or whether they be in operational expenditures, all of those costs for 2021 were covered by various senior level of government subsidies, whether that's federal dollars or provincial dollars that are available to us. We have covered all of our costs through that subsidy program. And so the ratepayers for the County of Renfrew in 2021 did not experience any direct costs because of COVID mitigation or management activities by the County of Renfrew. You may be surprised to know that we spent $9,322,000 in total COVID mitigation activities. That was offset by $7.4 million in provincial revenues, and another $640,000 under the federal Safe Start revenue program, as well as about $1.4 million in other revenue directly related to our VTAC program, where we have an invoicing arrangement with Arm Prior Regional Health. And so we are billing that organization about $1.1 million to offset all of our VTAC-related swabbing activities. So back to the Public Works report. COVID activities under equipment at $58,278 reflects the purchase of 2 mobile sign trailers that we have set up throughout the county, and those trailers contain COVID messaging for all of our residents whenever there was a change or an update or a reminder that we wanted to ensure that the public were aware of, the traveling public, and so that reflects the purchase of those 2 sign trailers. You'll notice that, no surprise to anyone in the room, vehicle operating costs for fuel, $43,000 above budget at $478,000. That, of course, would not be a surprise to anybody these days. This isn't necessarily a reflection of quantity that we're purchasing. It is pricing related, and of course that pricing challenge extends into 2022. And when you have a look at your first quarter financial statements that will be coming forward to you in the month of May, you'll see that similar challenge before us in 2022. Repairs and supplies, overall about $66,000 under budget. Capital equipment items in this area, $442,000. That reflects for us the purchase of a trailer, a 30-ton 3-axle trailer at $55,000. We were able to purchase 1 heavy-duty truck, so a 6-ton Freightliner for snow plowing activities at $203,000. We had, as I mentioned, a couple of message signs. We have a pressure washer, a reflectometer, a boom flail mower. I'm sure the staff can tell you a little bit more about that, but I'm sure that's for ditching activities. But in total, $442,000 worth of capital were purchased. In the housing area, we are under budget in housing, really a reflective of operating expenses and major repairs that are under budget. We did significantly do some work in the Southwest Patrol with our salt and sand domes, and so that's reflected in the capital purchases, capital expenditures in housing. And then certainly next to that, and when we get into the other category, this is really where our capital construction, so our project construction details are reflected there. I believe that Evelyn has distributed to you an addendum report which contained all of the project detail activities. We have $13,587,000 worth of capital projects in the year 2021. Those are not all completed projects, but those are projects that required financing or activities in 2021. But that is $5.7 million below our estimate of $19,383,000. And I know that staff have been keeping this committee updated throughout 2021 on some of the challenges that we've had with a number of major projects that could not move forward in 2021. Those projects were either financed by reserves or one of our provincial or federal subsidy programs. So those projects have been carried over into the 2022 year. You will recall from our budget workshop in January that we identified, I believe in yellow highlighters on the budget documents, all of those projects that could not be completed in 21 that need to be added to the 2022 program, and so that those projects will proceed. Toward the bottom of the report, again, I talked a little bit about the municipal levy dollars being about $480,000 under budget. Primarily, that's coming from your winter control savings. Donations in kind is a bit unusual. But every once in a while, we do receive a donation from a lower-tier municipality. In 2021, it happened to be the municipality of Abbotston-Bromley, and it was a culvert that was transferred to the county under our road policy that met our requirements to be a county culvert. And so the Berlanguette, is that right, Taylor? Pretty close. Creek culvert was donated to us, and that's the fair market value of that donation at $364,000. And that goes right into our capital program. And so, of course, we are now responsible for that culvert. So in the future, our 10-year capital plans will need to identify any future maintenance work that has to be done on that particular culvert. Provincial grants and subsidies, $1,357,000 is our OCIF provincial funding. With that, I can tell you a little bit about what we did with that money. OCIF was used, $500,000 of it was used to offset the costs of County Road 1, River Road from Mast Road to Henry Crescent. The total cost of that project was $955,000, and $500,000 came from the OCIF fund. County Road 21, Beachburg Road from La Paz to Davidson. We used $474,000 OCIF money to offset $662,000 in total costs on Beachburg Road, County Road 21. And then finally, County Road 7, Foresters Falls Road, that is from Beachburg Road to Government Road. The total cost of that project, $728,000, and we used $383,000 from OCIF. Those three projects then, the total cost of those projects was $2.3 million, and we used $1.3 million in OCIF funding to fund those projects. We transferred also from the gas tax reserve, so we receive on an annual basis gas tax funding, and so it automatically goes into a gas tax reserve, and then as the projects are completed, we transfer that money, so it's shown on your financial statement as a transfer from reserve, but that number includes $2,793,000 in gas tax. So the following projects were funded by gas tax this year. Oh, I don't have county road references. Well, the first one is Pucker Street to Highway 60. Total cost $577,000, and we used $369 of gas tax. Berlanguette Road to 1574 Stone Road. I apologize, I don't have the county road reference here. Total cost $745,000, and we used $682,000 of gas tax. Byers Creek Road to Buck Hill Road. Total cost $521, and we used $480 of gas tax. County Road 26 to County Road 55, that is rehabbing County Road 51. Total cost $734,000, and we used $585 from gas tax. Next, we have Fraser Road, roughly 1.8 kilometers. Total cost $576,000. Gas tax was $495. And finally, the Herds Creek Bridge, which is bridge number 180. Total cost was $496,000, and we used $180,000 worth of gas tax funding for that project. Almost at the bottom of the list, you'll see municipal recoveries of $14,961, and that reflects our director's activities requested by Abbotston-Bromley Township while they were in a short staff situation, and so our staff did some work for Abbotston-Bromley, and it's reflected in that line item. And then finally, you'll see under miscellaneous revenue, $133,000 against a budget of $75,000. That truck that I talked to you a little bit about, we received an insurance settlement of $13,141 for that truck that we tried to replace but had to rent a vehicle in the interim. Aggregate resources revenue, $85,622. Entrance sign permits, $6,600. Vehicle permits, $17,000, and some miscellaneous revenue, about $9,300. Mr. Chair, that's really my very brief overview of operations and your under budget position of $487,000 in 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foss. Any questions or comments from committee? Councillor Hunt, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to Jeff. Jeff, the winter control has put budget pressure, particularly in 2021, but it causes that account to have peaks and valleys, and I think we put $250,000 into reserve, and then we asked that out of the, if there were a surplus this year, that we put another 200 or 250 into the reserve. Will that go into the reserve prior to other uses of the overages? And what I'm thinking here is the Algonquin Trail, I know, had a claim on any surplus. So my question is, does the one that the department had asked for, this winter control, does that supersede the other request for surplus funds? Thank you.
Mr. Foss, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, to Councillor Hunt. So we had some competing resolutions in 2021, as Councillor Hunt identified. Early on in 2021, we had a resolution that came from the Development and Property Committee about financing a pretty significant number of projects for the Algonquin Trail. The budget was $2 million, and without a financing plan approved by Council in the 2021 budget. And so the resolution that came forward was that we pull this money needed for the Algonquin Trail from our reserve, I believe it was a working capital reserve, and that as a first charge against county surplus, we repay any money that was used to finance the trail activities. I can tell you that the County of Renfrew experienced an operating loss in 2021. There was no operating surplus for us in total, and so we were not able to repay from surplus the Algonquin Trail activity. And because the resolution, the wording contained the phrase first charge, we as a finance department had to deal with that resolution first. And so we've repaid a portion of the money that was used for Algonquin Trail activities, but we could not repay all of that activity. And so the second resolution that came, I believe it came at the end of the year or right around budget time from operations, was that if there was a County of Renfrew surplus, that we would attempt to increase our winter control reserve from its current $250,000 to $500,000. Our challenge was we didn't have a corporate surplus in the general fund in 2021. We'll talk a little bit about that when we look at the overall consolidated financial statements, but we had some pretty significant financial pressures, most specifically coming from our health committee, and so that really challenged us with having a surplus in 2021. And so we weren't able to deal with this second resolution of increasing the winter control reserve. We weren't even able to finance that first resolution for the trail from 2021 surplus. Thank you.
Thank you. That answer your question, Councillor Hunt?
Unfortunately, it does, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, questions or comments on item 1? Seeing none. Item 2, the monthly project status report. Item 3, the capital program variance report. Item 4, growth-related issues on county roads. Okay. Item 5, installation of street lighting, County Road 7, Foresters Falls, and the other area of the Township of Whitewater region. Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just a question. So in the last sentence of the first paragraph, it says staff will begin the warrant study. So I looked at the appendix, and it talks about what where the streetlights can be located and what they would look like and that sort of thing. I'm wondering what a warrant study is. I mean, I know that they warrant it, but I can't see the description there, please.
Mr. Hanrath, please.
To give sorry, Chair, through you to Warden Robinson, to give a brief description, they have to meet a certain warrant under the Ontario Traffic Manual. So our infrastructure technician would go on site, monitor traffic as well as pedestrian movements to ensure that the street lighting is warranted. I don't know the exact warrants offhand, but I could look into the issue and bring it at a future meeting.
Thank you very much. I was just curious because it seems like, you know, we're looking like we would probably do this and the municipality wants it. I was just wondering if we were in opposing positions on it because I couldn't figure out what the warrant study was, but thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on item 5? Item 6, the increased speed limits on provincial highways, namely 417 from Renfrew to Canada. Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. The question to the warden or the chair is, where is Renfrew? It says 417 Renfrew, but does that go to the 4-laner when we get to McNabb Braeside, I'm assuming? Or is there a border somewhere on 417 where Renfrew starts?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
I believe I will have to look into the exact location of where the speed limit change would happen.
Okay, the only, for me, what would make sense is that it would drop back to the 100 as soon as it hit Renfrew County. The sign on 417 for Renfrew County coming in. That would make sense to me because as you get into the urban area of Renfrew, there's a lot more traffic, people exiting and entering the roadway, but I guess that's up to the MTO people where they're going to put that. But that, for me, would make sense. Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. I guess my concern was when you're on 417 going west and you go through the town, while you're going through Dunrobin, Richardson Side Road, Kinsman Side Road, then you get to White Lake Road and then Campbell Drive, and then you get to the 2-lane which goes down to 1 lane. If you're going east, as soon as you hit the twinning, it says 100K. And 100K all the way through to Canada, and so my thoughts were that in reverse order, they'll go to 100 to past Campbell Drive somewhere. But it'd be nice to be clarified when people put their driving gloves on coming from Renfrew and they hit the twinning and hit 110, only to be tagged. Thank you.
Thank you. Changing that information, I guess, would have to come from MTO. The county won't have knowledge of that at this point. But I'll make a comment about changing it to 110. They don't obey 100. They don't obey 110. If you're doing 110 on the 4-lane heading into Ottawa, they'll run you right off the road. The speed limits, whatever they post there, unless they start to enforce them, it's just a sign. Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none. Item 7, on-site excess soil management. Questions, comments? Seeing none. We're on to...
Sorry, Councillor Hunt has a question.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Hunt, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Taylor. Lee had mentioned that there's a new document going to be produced to deal with landowners, and I'm just wondering, do you have a timing that, I believe that was going to be shared with the lower tier municipalities. Do you have a timing for that?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Hunt. So as the Ministry of Transportation actually has a OPSS that provides the document to us. It's OPSS 180, but we can circulate it to the lower tiers as well to ensure that they have direct access to it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else on item 7? We're on to resolutions. Item 8. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 8 is radar speed signs on County Road 29. The recommendation here is that Operations Committee support the Township of Laurentian Valley's request to cost-share radar signs along County Road 29, Drive-In Road, as per policy PW17, enhanced traffic warning signs.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Warden Robinson, Councillor Lynch. Comments? Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. I'm aware, or we should be aware, that the county has a mobile speed limit sign that we've had. I think we had 4, but one that may be operational. Could we put that out there as a tentative, see how it works thing before this one's bought, purchased, and installed?
Thank you. I think I would look to Warden Robinson to comment on that.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I know that the county did have their speed sign up on Drive-In Road for quite some time. I believe just possibly prior to Christmas or just after Christmas. There's a number of roads, though, that the Council of Laurentian Valley needs speed signs on. We have a significant problem, as I suspect other people do as well, with throughout the township, and we just don't seem to be getting anywhere with what we've been doing in the past. So we need those signs everywhere, and our municipality is prepared to pay half the cost.
Thank you. Anything else on the resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We're down to item 9, which is the Infrastructure Division. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, I present the Infrastructure Division's report. I'll go through the information items to start. Item number 1 is the 2022 Council Project Tour. During the summer of 2021, Warden Robinson and CAO Paul Morrow attended several planned, ongoing, and completed capital projects for the 2021 construction season. The project tour was considered beneficial and may be of benefit to Council as a whole to witness the wide variety and expanse of projects undertaken annually on roads, bridges, and structural culverts throughout the county. At this time, staff would like to arrange transportation for a tour of projects throughout the county in September of 2022. Should this be considered acceptable, staff will reach out to establish the best date to schedule the event and arrange transportation. Item number 2 is B005 Scholard Bridge Design Update. The design is continuing for the rehabilitation of County Structure B005 Scholard Bridge by HP Engineering Incorporated. 3 design alternatives were evaluated during the preliminary design, and the table provides a summary of for comparison of each alternative. As seen in the table, Alternative 2 provides a substantially greater design life, 50+ years, for a relatively lower increase in cost, estimated at $84,420 higher than cost than Alternative 1. Due to the benefit of a greater service life and little negative implications, staff have directed HP Incorporated to continue detailed design on Alternative 2. Item number 3 is County Road 512, Foymount Road, timeline update. The tender for close-cut clearing along County Road 512, Foymount Road, from Miller Road to Harrington Creek Bridge in the township of Bonnechere Valley closed on April 7, 2022. As the project is proceeding, county staff have reached out to staff at Bell and Hydro 1 to advise of the close cut clearing is anticipated to be completed by June 2nd, 2022. Bell staff have responded advising that utility relocations could require up to 1 year to complete due to the large number of poles to be relocated and 83 requiring rock drilling. Following this news, county staff discussed further with Bell and Hydro staff and are in the process of preparing a plan for which Bell and Hydro could complete a portion of the relocations at the west end of the project by mid to late August, which would allow for a portion of the roadworks to be undertaken and the county structure replaced. Further coordination will be required with Hydro and Bell to ensure that no issues arise with the two constructors working in the same area. If I could, there is a map to better illustrate the project limits for the planned project, if it could be pulled up on the screen.
Just give me a sec, Taylor.
Yeah. So the left side shows the works that potentially could be undertaken this year, and the right side, the larger stretch, would be planned for next year following Bell and Hydro's completing of the relocations. With that, item number 4 is the Transportation Master Plan update. During the last meeting of Operations Committee, staff were directed to issue a request for proposal for professional services to develop a transportation master plan for the County of Renfrew. Since that time, some local municipalities have reached out to inquire on potential of including local transportation master plans with the counties in order to realize savings. County Public Works staff have issued an email to all local municipal public works staff and county representatives requesting they provide us with a timetable for an official decision on whether or not their municipality may wish to have their own transportation master plan included with the counties. Local municipal transportation master plans will be requested to be included in proposals as provisional items. By doing so, a local municipality may withdraw their transportation master plan without penalty to the county or other participating local municipalities. As committee will recall, during the February meeting of Operations Committee, a resolution was passed to defer consideration of a request from the Township of Laurentian Valley for a transportation master plan. County staff have been in discussions with staff at Laurentian Valley on the potential of including Laurentian Valley and the City of Pembroke's requirements in the county's RFP for professional services to develop a transportation master plan. At this time, a definitive decision is not forthcoming. However, discussions will remain ongoing. And that concludes the information items for the Infrastructure Division report.
Thank you. We go back up to information item 1, 2022 Council Project Tour. Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I did have the privilege of doing a tour with Taylor and Mr. Morrow last summer. And it really is eye-opening. It was a long day. We never stopped for lunch or drink, but we'll provide beverages in the vehicle if we do this in September. But you know, pictures just don't do these projects justice. And when you get to walk around and look, and you even talking to the staff that were working in some of these locations, the pride they take in their work is exceptional. So I would encourage everyone that has the opportunity to attend the tour in September to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Warden. Fully agree. Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. October is an election, so some of us may not be here next, for October, and we're doing this in September. Could we move the date up to somewhere in the summer so that we're more current people here today, or make it in November when we have new members?
I would think November, most of the projects would be completed at that point, but I'll defer to Mr. Hanrath about the possibility of moving the tour up, but it could be looked at, I think. Mr. Hanrath?
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Lynch. Yes, the project tour could be moved up. Admittedly, I was the one that chose September, as there's potential I'll be away on parental leave until the month of September. But if we wish to move it up, that can definitely be accommodated.
Mr. Morrow, please.
Thank you, Chair. And if I may, Chair, I'd like to put Rose on the spot to talk to us about timing around the election and when elected will be sworn in, and we could possibly look at that. I don't disagree with Councillor Lynch's comments. Taylor's right. The projects, or the Chair is right. The projects won't be active. But, we've been talking at the staff level about how we do orientation with new elected, and this could be a component of that as well. So if we were to do it sooner. But Rose, if you can just hit the timing for when new elected would be sworn in potentially.
So the elected will be sworn in November at the lower tier, but they won't be sworn in at County Council until early December. I think we've kind of tentatively scheduled it for December 6th or 7th.
Thank you. Comments? So we need to make a decision here, I think. Warden Robinson?
Thank you, Chair. I think that if we can do it earlier, I think that'd be great. I would hope some of us will be back after the election. So, again, I just think it was extremely valuable to be able to see those projects while they're taking place. So I don't know if August is an option or not.
Thank you. Councillor Lynch?
Thank you, Chair. I concur with the warden. If we get it done earlier, once we've done the tour, we can go back to our councils and give our report of what's happening to the new people, to council and residents and whoever is running what they're going to be walking into when they get here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morrow, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Chair, with your permission, then, can we get direction to staff to consider the month of October for a tour for elected?
I thought the warden was suggesting August.
Oh, sorry, August. I apologize. August.
Yeah. No, I agree with the warden. August, the time, and thinking about the tour for new members that are here. I think that would make a great 2023 project to have those new members out and around the roads to see the projects in 2023. Okay? So can we give staff direction to set up a date sometime in August of 2022 to have this tour? I don't see anybody objecting. So done? Yeah. Thank you. Item 2, the Schollard Bridge design update. Mover and, no, it's just information. Any questions or comments on this? I certainly agree with staff's recommendation with item number 2. Thank you. Item 3, County Road 512, Foymont Road. Questions or comments? Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Had we anticipated having 512 done this year?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Warden Robinson. No, we didn't anticipate completing the entire section, but we were hoping to get more than what's being proposed done.
Thank you.
So if I could have supplementary.
Yes, supplementary, Warden.
Is this coming as a surprise to us, or I'm wondering, should we have anticipated, or is this a lesson we're learning, or?
Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Warden Robinson. The length of time is a bit of a surprise. We were anticipating they'd complete all of their works by the end of August. The fact that they've said it won't be done until next spring was a bit of a surprise. But they are willing to work with us, and we'll work with them as well.
Thank you. Mr. Morrow, please.
Thank you, Chair. And just a clarification, Taylor, part of the challenge was the acquisition of the land, and without having the land in place, we could not have that conversation with the utilities. Is that correct? Because if you don't own the land, you cannot commit to having that conversation with Bell and Hydro.
Mr. Hanrath, please.
That is correct. They were waiting on us to purchase the property, but they were aware that the project was coming through.
Thank you. I've seen similar projects in my township, and not surprised that there's a delay with Hydro and Bell. It seems to occur on a regular basis in my township. Councillor Keller, please.
Yeah, and just regarding to 512, I know coming through there this morning, I know the west section is probably the worst of the whole road. So at least if we can get a start on that this year with any luck, I think if we show our residents that we actually are making some headway, at least they'll show some appreciation and hopefully some patience for completion in 2023. So.
Thank you. Any other comments on item 3? Item 4, the Transportation Master Plan update. Comments, questions? Seeing none. We're on to resolutions. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 5 is Target Bridge Condition Index, BCI, and Pavement Condition Index, PCI values. The recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council amend the existing asset management plan to set target system average condition values for bridge and structural culvert assets.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Bennett, Councillor Keller. Questions, comments? Seeing none. All in favor of the resolution? It's carried. Thank you. Into bylaws, Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 6 is PWC 2022-57, Rehabilitation of County Structure B057, Mount St. Patrick Bridge. The recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve Contract PWC 2022-57 as submitted by Coco Paving Limited, Kingston, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of County Structure B057, Mount St. Patrick Bridge, in the amount of $686,698 plus HST, and further that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lynch. Councillor Keller. Thank you. Questions or comments? Councillor Hunt, please.
Thank you. Through you to Taylor, do you have an idea on when this project would start and complete?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Hunt. Yes, the project should get underway mid to late May and be completed in October, or sooner if possible, but that's the timeline we're anticipating.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the bylaw? Carried. Thank you. Oh, I may have missed one. No. Item 7, Mr. Hanrath, please. Rehabilitation of county structure B319.
Thank you, Chair. The recommendation for item number 7 is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve contract PWC 2022-18 as submitted by GMP Contracting, Markham, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of county structure B319, Bucholtz Bridge, in the amount of $835,495.47 plus HST, and further that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed.
Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. It is just a comment that I look at the six companies that bid. Only one is local, and you know, they just missed the mark by less than $10,000, and it's unfortunate that we can't give it to a local contractor.
Thank you. It would be beneficial or nice if we could do that, but unfortunately, we can't. Any other comments? All in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Item 8, close cut clearing along County Road 512. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve contract PWC 2022-09 submitted by Six Nations Acon Joint Venture, Toronto, Ontario for close cut clearing along County Road 512, Foymount Road, from Miller Road to County Structure B257, Harrington Creek Bridge, in the amount of $151,477.44 plus HST, and further that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed.
Thank you. Mover and seconder. Councillor Keller, Councillor Lynch, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? It's carried. Thank you. Item 9, Centennial Lake Road transfer of land. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council pass a bylaw to acquire Part 1 on Plan 49R20034 in the geographic township of Madawatin in the township of Greater Madawaska from Corey McKinnon for the sum of $1, and further that Part 1 on Plan 49R20034 be dedicated as part of the public highway upon registration of transfer documents.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Hunt, Councillor Bennett. Questions or comments? All in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Is that the end of your report, Mr. Hanrath?
Thank you, Chair. That concludes the infrastructure report.
Okay. We're on to the Operations Division. Is Mr. Baldock with us today, or are you carrying the load?
Chair, I'll be carrying the load today.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Carry on, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, I'll present the Operations Committee report, or the Operations Division report, sorry. Item number 1 is winter operations. Table 1 provides a summary of winter events, material storage, and precipitation amounts for the 2021-2022 winter months. Table 2 outlines the significant weather events declared to date for the 2021-2022 winter season. Staff continue to be ready to respond to winter events as they occur. Item number 2 is spring load restrictions. The County of Renfrew bylaw 1112 to designate a reduced load period on county roads pertains to spring load restrictions that may be imposed commencing March 1st and extend to May 31st each and every year. The county placed advertisements in the local newspapers and provided notifications to local municipalities to advise the public and commercial haulers that spring load restrictions commenced on March 21st, 2022. Staff will be monitoring the progress of the spring breakup to determine whether or not it will be possible to lift road restrictions prior to May 31st. The signs indicating the restrictions will be adjusted to reflect any changes to the period of restrictions. Item number 3 is disposal of surplus assets. The Township of Whitewater Region was the successful bidder of the following equipment and provided to the Township. Item number A is Motorola Radius M1225 radio and mic. B is Motorola CM200 radio and mic. C is Motorola home base mic. D is Motorola MTPN home base power supplies. Item number 4 is quotations and tenders. The following tenders have been awarded under the authority of the Director of Public Works and Engineering or the Chief Administrative Officer. In all cases, procurements have followed the process set out in Corporate Policy GA01, Procurement of Goods and Services. So A is PWO 2022-06, Rehabilitation of the Calabogie Sand Dome and Structural Repair of the Calabogie Salt Shed. B is PWO 2022-07, Rehabilitation of the Calabogie Salt Shed. Applicable taxes have been excluded from the numbers shown. That concludes the information items for the Operations Division report.
Thank you. We go back to item number 1, information and winter operations. Questions or comments? I just have, just for clarification, I used to remember, I think Mr. Perkins had told me some time ago that a major storm in the county of Renfrew could use up to $400,000 in one storm. Is that correct, or is it lower than that, Mr. Hanrath?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Perkins and Mr. Bolduc would probably be better suited to answer that question on my behalf.
Mr. Perkins, please, do you recall that conversation a couple of years ago?
I do, Chair, and thank you for the question. Actually, we were discussing the city of Lethbridge in southern Alberta. That's what every centimeter of snow that was removed from that city cost $400,000. But no, I'll look into what a major snowstorm could potentially cost the county of Renfrew for you.
Thank you. I think that for me, I would like that information because I know we're putting. We have $250,000. We're trying to put another $250,000 into reserve for major events. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. To Taylor, when we have these significant weather reports, do we bring extra staff in to be prepared for the weather and be budgeted accordingly? Is that part of our figures?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Oh, sorry, Chair. It looks like Mr. Perkins would like to step in on this one as well.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Perkins,
And thank you, Sorry, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Lynch, for the question. Actually, what happens in these, when we do declare a significant weather event, it's from the Ontario government, from MTO, that allows us to do it, that extends our maintenance service requirements. But again, it does prepare all staff. We don't bring in extra staff. We do have casuals that we will utilize extra, but we will extend the days for the gentlemen that are already on shift.
Thank you. Anything else on item 1? Item 2, spring load restrictions. Item 3, disposal of surplus assets. Item 4, quotations and tenders. Seeing nothing. On to bylaws. Mr. Hanrath, please. Item 5, the rehabilitation of County Road 517, Defoe Road.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, the recommendation is that Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve contract PWC 2022-04 as submitted by Greenwood Paving, Pembroke Limited, Pembroke, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of County Road 517, Defoe Road, in the amount of $943,818.01 plus HST, and further that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Keller. Councillor Bennett. Questions or comments? Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. To Taylor, I noticed that the next one down is Greenwood Paving as well. History with another company that we've had in the past has been sort of like defaulted 2 years ago and again last year. Does this company, in your opinion, have the materials and people to do the two projects? Does that?
I don't believe, Councillor Lynch, that Greenwood Paving has given the county any headaches in the past, but I'll defer to Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Lynch. Greenwood Paving has done a substantial amount of work for the county in the past. I trust that they will be able to complete these two projects if awarded.
Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair, to Taylor and to Lee. Last year at this committee, we were under your formula for choosing the company to do the job. There was going to be another line for reliability. I'm wondering if that was put into this year's tendering.
Thank you. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Lynch. That has not been incorporated, as far as I know, into this year's tendering process, but we are working on a process going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on item 5? All those in favor of the bylaw? It's carried. Thank you. Item 6, rehabilitation of County Road 65, Centennial Lake Road. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. The recommendation is that Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve contract PWC 2022-65 as submitted by Greenwood Paving, Pembroke Limited, Pembroke, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of County Road 65, Centennial Lake Road, in the amount of $1,143,330.89 plus HST, and further that bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lynch. Councillor Hunt. Questions or comments? All in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Item 7, light-duty pickup trucks. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve contract PWO 2022-01 as submitted by Surgeon Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac, Ottawa, Ontario, for the supply and delivery of 8 light-duty pickup trucks in the amount of $432,318 plus applicable taxes, and further that a bylaw to authorize the execution of the contract be passed.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Hunt. Councillor Lynch. Questions, comments on the recommendation? Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. To Taylor, did we go to the municipalities to say we're buying trucks, and did anybody else join with us?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Lynch. Yes, we did circulate to local municipalities. Offhand, I can't remember which ones joined in, if any did.
I know we received information at our township about it some time ago. If we were wanting to get in on the buying power of the county. I don't know whether my township needed a truck this year or not, but I know it went to the municipalities. Any further comments on item 7? All in favor of the recommendation? It's carried. Thank you. Item 8, pavement markings. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council approve contract PWO 2022-02 as submitted by Provincial Road Markings Incorporated, Guelph, Ontario, for the pavement marking in the amount of $657,003 plus HST, and further that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Keller, Councillor Hunt. Questions or comments? Councillor Hunt, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Taylor. Taylor, we discussed in 2021 about pavement marking increasing substantially in cost, and I'm wondering, how it compared to previous years on a per kilometer basis? Was there the substantial increase that we were expecting? And how does this budget compare to, or how does this price compare to our budget? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Hunt. So the unit rates themselves did come in lower than they did last year, and we are within our budget requirements for it. If Jeff has something to add, I will pause there as well.
Mr. Foss, please.
Thank you, Chair. And through you to Councillor Hunt. Earlier in the meeting, when we reviewed our financial results for 2021, we talked about this very issue with some of the challenges that we had with safety devices in the 2021 period. The total cost of line painting in 2021 was $531,000, and it happened in 2021 that the tender that you're looking at, the second place bidder, Alman, was our provider in 2021. So the total was $531,000. And just looking at this tender now, Provincial Road Markings would have the lower bid for this particular tender at $657,000. And if I had just a moment, I'll have a look at what our budget is for 2022. Sorry for the delay. Here's 2022 coming up. We increased the budget in 2022 for all safety devices from $570,000 up to $798,000, an increase of $228,000, particularly due to the increased pressure on line painting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I know we talked in past meetings about them having to change the type of paint they use, and therefore the length of time the markings and everything last before they're worn off and have to be redone is shortened, and it's like everything else, cost goes up and quality goes down. Anything else? Okay. All those in favor of the recommendation? It's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That concludes the report.
That concludes the report. Thank you. I see Mr. Perkins would like to make a comment, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring committee back to item 5 for County Road 517 for Defoe Road. This is a project that was near and dear to the residents of Greater Madawaska, in particular the Madonna House. So the Chair actually took the time 2 years ago to meet with Councillor Love and a number of councillors in Greater Madawaska. And I'm very proud to say that Taylor and his team have accommodated an extra wide hardened shoulder from Highway 60 back, or sorry, Highway from Combermere into Madonna House. So I just wanted to make sure that committee was aware of that. And it was a excellent example of how we are disseminating the information to our municipal partners, and we are doing those on-site meetings and trying to accommodate when we can. So I just wanted to thank the Chair and Mayor Love for that.
Thank you. I think and what Mr. Perkins and his team has been doing throughout the county and projects like this is in my opinion, the way things should be done. Meeting with people on the site face to face, and the cooperation level is there from the county and the municipality, and we get things done and move forward. Thank you. Anything else on? So I need a mover and seconder for the report as a whole, please. Warden Robinson, Councillor Hunt. Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Is there any new business? Councillor Lynch and then Councillor Hunt, please.
I'm not too sure how to say under new business, Chair, but watching the TV and this carbon and green and electric vehicles and whatnot, we're buying 7 or 8 new half-ton trucks that should last 10 to hopefully 12 years. Are we going to get caught with gas-operated or diesel-operated and not have electric? Just giving a forewarning, I guess we'll say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hunt, please. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you had your hand up.
Thank you. Through you to either Taylor or Lee, I'm wondering where we are on the culvert tender and, well, I may have a supplemental when you answer that part.
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Hunt. The culvert tender is out. I would have to check the date on closing of it, though.
Thank you. Supplemental.
Thank you. I'm wondering if we can consider moving that forward. I know for our townships, we could use the culverts now, and I'm just wondering if that could be pushed earlier in the schedule so that perhaps by the end of March we could be awarding so that we could get them ordered. Anyway, for your consideration.
Thank you. Any other items under new business? Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. Just, I'm curious on the cost of asphalt. Last year we tendered out early and we made a significant savings on it. Did the asphalt prices go up this year?
Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Lynch. We have seen an increase in the asphalt unit rates. I believe some of our tenders have seen unit rates in excess of $100 per ton, which we haven't seen in quite a few years.
Thank you. Any other? Oh, yes, there is an addendum that was sent out, and my apologies, I forgot about it, under information item, it's item 10, 2021 unaudited financial statement capital construction program. Is that the one where, Mr. Hanrath, please?
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Attached as Appendix 13 is the capital construction details for 2021 projects that provides a further detail on the $6 million surplus in the capital construction program that has been carried over to 2022. I apologize for not bringing that to committee's attention sooner.
Comments, questions on item 10? Saying none.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Morrow, please.
Thank you, Chair. I also believe there was a letter that was sent out as well as an information item that was received by Warden Robinson. And Taylor, if you could comment on that as well, please.
Thank you. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to all of committee. Warden Robinson received a letter from MTO regarding a request for signalization at Highway 148 and County Road 29 Drive-In Road. They have identified that the signals have been included in the design moving forward, but they did dictate that temporary signals would not be in place as well.
Thank you. Comments? Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I certainly appreciate the letter from Minister Mulroney. You know, it's unfortunate that these temporary lights take such a long time to be erected. I really don't understand why. There was an accident there just about a week and a half ago as well. So the sooner we get some kind of controlled intersection, the better.
Thank you. We're finished now? That's all I have, sir. Sorry. Okay. My fault. So I need to now go back to the report as a whole and have that revisited. So we had a mover and seconder before. Is there anything else under the report as a whole? Okay, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. There's no closed meeting. Date of the next meeting, May 10th, 2022. I need a mover and seconder to adjourn, please. Councillor Hunt, Councillor Bennett, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Can you bring us down, Sean, please?